Estrangula o cavalo. Agarra o pescoço do cavalo. Faz o gancho. Faz o gancho, não quer o cavalo, moleque. Aperta o pescoço do cavalo. Ai! Ok. Quer fazer aqui? Vem cá, Hiro. Fica vem aqui, Hiro.
Why kids quit Jiu Jitsu and what you must do about it to make sure they don't. This may very well be the most important talk we've ever had, especially if you have kids.
For Jiu Jitsu.
For Jiu Jitsu and for the world. You guys, to have this discussion here with us today, we brought in one of the head instructors at the Gracie Academy, one of the toughest dudes in the Gracie Academy, and for those who don't know, our longest standing student here in the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Academy. Started when he was 7 years old, and now this year he turns 27, you guys. And I know your math is on point. Jordan, tell him about it.
Hey guys, how's it going? So it's been a long journey, and it's been almost about 20 years, like Henry said. And what got me into the academy was, of course, watching Hoist through the first 2 UFCs. And me and my dad were watching these fights, and I said, "Dad, I gotta learn this stuff." And he said, "Yes, Jordan, you do." So he brought me in the academy, and I've been there ever since. And the crazy thing about that is, my first class, I made a bunch of friends, a lot of cool kids, but they're not here anymore.
Yeah,
they're all gone. And I don't know what happened to them, but I know that my father had a lot to do with it.
Keeping you in, you're saying?
Of course.
Yes. To make it or break it detail.
And not only your first class, but every class, every year.
Yeah.
For the first 10 years.
Yeah,
Kids
right.
come,
Kids
kids
go.
go. While he was in kids' classes, there was always new kids in.
Think
and
about
kids
this.
out.
Imagine if you had to put a thing. Today we have about 285 kid students today active in the Gracie Academy. Imagine how many kids have started and quit in the time since Jordan started 20 years ago.
10,000.
At least, yeah. Thousands and thousands of kids cycle through. Now, of course, a certain element of that falls on the instructors in the academy, but a huge percentage falls on the parents in terms of their ability to assist us in this journey of keeping the kids engaged. You don't? Tell them.
Wow. So, speaking about children, I mentioned to them that, I've been thinking about this lately a lot, and we had this belief that Jiu-Jitsu is for everybody. Everybody in the world, and including every child. So you have children that have no niche. They don't play any sport. Jiu-Jitsu is for them. And obviously the ones that play sports, Jiu-Jitsu is for them. So we're gonna discuss, how to keep them on the mat forever.
Yeah, because even though Jiu-Jitsu is for everyone, no question about it, at some point, everyone, especially kids, will risk or try or attempt to quit Jiu-Jitsu. And the discussion today is a very specific one. It's what the parents need to do to maximize the classes for the child in the journey and to guarantee the longest possible Jiu-Jitsu lifespan for their child.
And when we say Jiu-Jitsu, we don't just mean them learning arm locks and chokes, right? Jiu-Jitsu is just, it's a lifestyle. There are so many principles and there are lessons and just lifelong traits that you can learn that are going to help these children through life and through all aspects of life. Sure. So we want them on the mat because we know that it's going to help them through college, through all challenges in their future, through being married and so on.
Yeah, Jiu-Jitsu goes just beyond learning techniques.
Right.
Builds confidence, build relationships, and you learn how to handle life in a different way. For sure.
Yeah. So the way we've broken it down is 3 essential phases of a child's journey in Jiu-Jitsu. Phase 1 is Little Champs, and typically for us here at the Gracie Academy, it's the name of a program. That's 4 to 7 years old, more or less, depending on the maturity of the child. Phase 2 is Junior Grapplers, 8 to 12 years old, more or less. And Phase 3, we call it Black Belt Club. And essentially what the Black Belt Club is an advanced Jiu-Jitsu curriculum, kids class, a program that a child is invited to. Once they reach a very high level of maturity, they graduate out of Junior Grapplers, and they're just a different level. They're on fire. It's like the Master Cycle for kids. They're just ready. We call it Black Belt Club, not because we issue black belts to kids. We don't do that. But because we believe that once a child gets into the Black Belt Club and sticks with it in the Black Belt Club, that's pretty much guaranteed that they'll stick with it for life if you do what you're supposed to do as a parent. and they will eventually earn their black belt, as we've seen with Jordan and other kids who've come through since then over the years. So we talk about phase 1, little champs, ages 4 to 7, more or less, right? The beginning, the very beginning. Main objective, make jiu-jitsu fun. Main challenge, find a school that can do that. And reason why your child will quit during this phase is the parent simply stops bringing the child to class. You know, talk about how we make it fun and in terms of how we teach this class, because as much as this video is for parents out there, a lot of jiu-jitsu instructors will benefit from this, because we're going to discuss some concepts as to how we as the academy engage the children the same way we were engaged as children, and the same way, you know, we taught Jordan when he was much younger to keep him engaged, and many of our students today.
When working with kids as young as like 4 and 5 years old, it's important that the instructor can drop to their level, because the 4 and 5 year old, they need to trust the instructor. They need to trust the instructor when the instructor gives them, you know, instructions on a technique and so on. So being able to be a child yourself and play and let loose and forget who's watching and who's in the room will really make the children feel comfortable around you. When they feel comfortable, they're going to want to come back. So that's something that's very hard to do for instructors, to let loose and have fun. And because of that, it ends up becoming a very regimented
They don't want to look
class.
bad. Some instructors don't want to look bad in front
Or
of
clowny,
their parents. Yeah. So they will kind of get too strict on the kids, and then that kind of forces them to almost quit.
And it forces the kid to like lose interest and not have fun at the class, right? Most adult jiu-jitsu instructors teach children like they would adults. Here's the technique. Kids, do the move. Hold on, fix this, fix that. No, correct. Make it perfect. They're way lost in terms of how to deal with kids in the little champs kind of age category. For us, it's all, if you can't be a kid, you can't teach a kid. You have to connect on that level. Now you can force a kid to be in the room and hit him with a freaking bamboo stick and go way old school style and teach him the militant discipline style martial arts approach. We're very much against that. For us, and how it was used on us at that age, was move the coffee table out of the floor. Henner, come on. Who's gonna hold on to the crazy horse right now for more than 10 seconds? Our dad would challenge us. Who thinks they can hold me for more than 10 seconds? On your mark, get set, go. And we would jump on and we'd fall off at 9 seconds. And he'd say, okay, you guys, I told you guys it was too crazy today. Who really thinks they can beat me on level 3? Come on, I wanna go again. And we're right? Wasn't it this game that was a challenge? It was fun. Our dad was a freaking clown with it. And because of that, we were like, only 10, 15 minutes a day, quick little class at home. And that was it. That was our jiu-jitsu, little champs, playful introduction to the Gracie Games, as we call it.
Now,
but not everybody can do this.
Yeah. Now, if the average instructor out there asks the parents, you know, what would you like for a class? What kind of class would you like? Or if parents could select between this class where the kids are very, you know, it's a very disciplined class structure and so on, or a little more of a fun, playful class, most parents are gonna select the more serious, disciplined approach.
Yeah.
And that's because parents bring their children to jiu-jitsu because they want us to instill order in their children. Because a 5-year-old, I have a 1.5-year-old, 2-year-old, and it's chaos. But a 5-year-old in the house, especially when you have 2 kids, it can be very wild. So they bring them to jiu-jitsu for discipline. But we have to be careful not giving the parents what they want, but giving the children what they need. And what they need is to have fun and play, because we know that there will be a time when the child goes this way or that way. And if you're not having that much fun, this way is going to be wanting to not go to jiu-jitsu, wanting to quit, complaining about it, resisting it. But if they're having fun, it's going to be much easier to bring them back. And then before you know it, they themselves will become more focused. And they're going to ask for more focused class and for more advanced techniques. But that's in time, and there's no hurry. And parents sometimes, they want that sooner than it's the right time. They want that before it's the right time. But you have to leave it to the instructor. So the instructor knows when the child is ready to move to the next level of focus, or if they should stay where they're at.
Yeah, so the main challenge at this age at this young age, is finding a school that knows how to teach in a very playful, where jiu-jitsu is the most fun for that child's whole week. They love going, but it still has some structure and order where the child is learning how to sit in a line. When there's time to line up, they line up. So within the chaos, there's structure, and that's a very fine balance. And that's one thing that we try to certify all of our instructors to be able to do, is how to manage that balance between playful circus and structured learning environment.
And that's the thing that kind of kept me going, was I would be a kid and I knew the last 10 minutes we'd play games.
When you were 7.
When I was 7.
Got it.
So I knew, okay, 45 minutes is jiu-jitsu, but 15 minutes I'll get to play
dodgeball or whatever.
cops and robbers. So that's the fun part. Really kept me going back.
It's like the little toy in the Happy Meal. Which I never got. I've never received that toy in my life.
Happy Meal is. What are you
No,
talking about?
I've seen it on TV, but you need a little toy in the end.
You guys, and the thing is that our goal in that phase as instructors, our goal is to make sure that the kid has so much fun that when they leave, they're like, and then it's like, kid, time for jiu-jitsu on Thursday. They're like, okay, let's go, mom, come on, hurry up, are we late? We don't want to be late. And they go. That's our goal for you. So you don't have to drag the kid to class at 5 years old, because to drag the kid to class from 5 until 15, 16 is going to be quite a lot of dragging. And we want to make it as easy as possible. Now, in terms of technical, what are we trying to accomplish at that phase? Get the kid comfortable with closeness. As long as the kid is comfortable with someone laying on them and them laying on someone else in the guard, in the mount, learn the basic positions, and they're comfortable in closeness, what are we building? A foundation of that not panicking, being okay on your back, being okay in the close quarter situation, right? So that when they get older and we start instilling the actual techniques, it's not foreign to have someone close.
Let's not get it twisted. We still teach the kids
Very much.
how to control another 5-year-old kid. And they're still learning jiu-jitsu techniques mixed into these games.
Yeah.
So even though they're getting comfortable with the closeness, they're learning techniques. So you get a 6-year-old kid who is building confidence. And when I ask that 6-year-old, can you beat me in a fight? They're gonna say yes. And that what that does is it gives the kid enough confidence to when another kid bothers them, they say, hey, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Don't bug me. Don't talk to me like that. And that's what parents want. They want their kids to draw lines and stand up for themselves.
Right. Don't get it twisted. They're learning self-defense. They're learning how to positional body control. Not any submissions, no joint locks at that early age, but just how to hold someone down and be able to negotiate with the bully, which is something we teach at every level. Now, why does a kid quit at 5 years old?
Well, look at this.
Little champs.
We had our daughter signed up for gymnastics, swimming, and music class. Each
At a year
twice
and a
a
half?
week.
At a
No,
year?
younger, at a year.
What?
Each twice a week.
What are you guys doing?
You know how it is, because you want your child
That's true.
to be like the best
Yeah.
child, because they represent you.
I don't have a child, but I know that I want Choki to be like the best
Dog.
puppy. So like anything we gotta do, let's go to obedience training, let's go
There
to
it
freaking
is.
agility training. I do it all.
So because you want your child to be the best, you do all these different things. But it becomes a point where it's overload.
Too much.
And then you have to look around and say, you know what, we have to drop something.
Yes.
Because I, as a parent, can't take it anymore. And when you look at what to drop, you can't look at jiu-jitsu and say, oh, that's the wild jiu-jitsu class. Look at it and say, that's the wild jiu-jitsu class that's infused with amazing techniques. Confidence building techniques, and soon to be, principles and philosophies that are gonna help that kid through the rest of life.
It's so major. Dude, when are you gonna pull Valent out of learning how to swim?
Never.
There you go. Until she can swim in the ocean by herself, catching big waves.
Until she's a black belt.
Until she's a black belt in swimming, comfortable in the water, ocean with huge waves, you don't stop practicing her swim skills.
Isn't the world like 80% water?
Yes.
So you have to know how to swim.
Yes.
But the world is 100% full of people.
So you have to know how to defend yourself
Against people.
You guys, swimming and jiu-jitsu are on the same hype of necessity for survival, right? And if you're looking at this video right now and thinking, yeah, I probably would not want my child to grow up and turn 18 years old and me not have invested in their swimming skills to a very proficient level to where in any pool of water or ocean they could stay afloat and they would not panic and drown themselves from panic and overload and exhaustion. The same is true for jiu-jitsu. If you keep them with it, without question, Jordan's the proof, we're the proof. Anybody who's ever done it since they were a kid is the proof. And it changes everything, every interaction, every relationship, every negotiation, everything. When you're in the boardroom and you look across the table and you see this guy who's saying crazy things that you firmly disagree with, it just helps to know that you could choke him out. You're not gonna do it, but in your head, think, man, look at this guy talking to me like this. I don't need to fear him. I don't have any concerns. I know I can handle myself. And if you can handle yourself physically, if everyone left the room and they locked the boardroom and whoever wins the fight decides the new contract, it's nice to know that you can get down. I don't think about these things on a regular basis. I'm just saying.
Let's slow down.
That's how important jiu-jitsu is. Yes, it changes everything.
Hold on, let's slow down. Even before that, as a child, at the ages of like 12, 14, 16, even 22 years old, you move out of your house, how worried is your father about you when it comes to your personal safety?
For me personally,
Yeah.
that I know Jiu-Jitsu,
Yeah,
not worried at all.
not
Zero.
worried. So whether you have a son or daughter, there's extreme comfort in knowing that your child at those teenage years and young adulthood, that they're safe, they can protect themselves.
Yes.
That's like if you're gonna have them wear a seatbelt, they might as well know Jiu-Jitsu. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. It's your life seatbelt. Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
You guys. So the reason why we're saying this is the reason why a kid quits at this early age is because of overscheduling and insufficient prioritization. So the parent says, oh, we got to cut something out. Jiu-Jitsu is cool, but they're just playing around anyway.
That's what I said. Don't look at Jiu-Jitsu.
Don't look at it as a circus.
Yes.
It's very strategic circus.
Yes. Leave it to us. Especially if it's under the Gracie Academy or many other Gracies out there that are teaching Jiu-Jitsu the way that
Keep them in the class.
kids need to learn it.
It's too easy for a parent who's never seen Jiu-Jitsu before, doesn't know what we're doing, and has not seen the curve after 20 years of progress that we have seen as instructors and as members of the family. They haven't seen the curve. I've seen Jordan, I've seen many others, not to the same extent, but trained for 7 years, for 3 years, for 12 years, and we've seen the results. So a parent can't look at a little class of kids laying on top of each other, just rolling around like two little grappling dummies, and think, I'm paying the money now, so I want the results now, and if they're not getting the results now, this is not worth it. They're confused. You have to make it a fun thing for it to become a productive thing, for it to become a lifelong, impactful thing.
Yep.
Moral of the story, at the early phase, simply keep bringing your child to class. Cancel any other, what are the other classes Valen does? The ones that are not important as Jiu-Jitsu?
Music.
Music, you guys.
Even though music is a beautiful thing and very important,
beautiful.
take a break from music.
Yes.
Take a break from gymnastics. Take a break from tennis.
Yes. Do not stop swimming and do not stop Jiu-Jitsu. Phase 1, mission accomplished. No matter how silly the class might look, there's a plan. Trust us. Trust Jordan. Phase 2, we call it junior grapplers. Typically 8 to 12 years old. Not to say a 6-year-old who's super focused can't get into junior grapplers. The number one objective, the main objective in the junior grapplers program for us is now it's actually to build self-defense, confidence, and their force field of confidence. We want to build a child who at this point is willing to stand up for themselves or for any one of their peers in a troubled situation. That's our goal, our objective as a school in the junior grapplers phase. The biggest challenge at this phase is keeping the child's interests in Jiu-Jitsu. Keeping them to where they're super excited to come and they really like going, okay? And why kids quit at this phase?
Yeah, they don't live up to their parents' expectations.
Yes, they don't live up to the parents' expectations. The parents ruin it at this phase because they want the kid to be so good at technique that Jordan's teaching in a class that they want to correct it. They want to say, no, don't do this, Johnny, do that. No, don't do this, do that. No, when they go home, listen, you should have done this in class today. Why were you doing this? Why were you doing that? He don't tell them why they do this. Take them all the way in, bro.
I mentioned it earlier that the child is an extension of the parent. So when you put your child in a class and you see techniques being taught, you see a nice escape or a nice arm lock or a takedown, you see some kids doing it, and then you look and there's your child not doing it, or not as nice, or just not even practicing it. Your immediate response is, hey, you need to focus, or hey, when you do it, you need to hold the legs tighter, or do this. Parents want to always give their 2 cents because they want their kid to look better and do better because that means that they're a better parent. But that's not the case. If the kid is a little bit off track, that's okay. Leave it to the instructor. Leave it to us. We'll get there. You can flag us and point to your child and we'll go help them. But for you to say something, it allows the child to feel as if they let you down. And believe it or not, children want you to be proud of them, especially at the age of 9 years old. They want to show, look what I did today, this is what I did. And they're doing Jiu-Jitsu partly, and they like you watching the class. But that's only if you watch and you simply enjoy watching them, whether they do the move 10% right or 100% right.
Yeah,
It should always just be praised no matter what. The fact that they just make it to the class should be good enough for you. As soon as you start to tell the kid, hey, you should have done this or that better, that's when they start to kind of shy away from wanting to come to Jiu-Jitsu.
Because they associate Jiu-Jitsu with a window or an opportunity to disappoint their parents. And if the association that they create is Jiu-Jitsu equals disappoint my parents, how excited are they going to become to come to class?
I don't know.
Not at all.
The only thing you have to say to your child after every class, no matter how good or how bad you think they did, is, I really enjoyed watching you practice jiu-jitsu today.
That's it. That's it. And you have to understand, parents, that when we get an instructor and we certify them to teach jiu-jitsu in the Gracie Bullyproof program at a certified training center, one of the most important skills we teach the instructors is how to correct mistakes. That's huge, because how you deal with the mistakes determines how excited the kid is to try the next time around. And the idea is simple. When a child goes in and does the move 60% correct, that's 40% wrong, let's just say. You have a choice. 60% was done right, 40% missing. If you go in and you focus on the 40, we call that pole teaching, where you focus on what they're doing wrong, hoping that it'll get smaller and smaller over time. The problem is, the child is discouraged, they disappointed you, so what we explain to our instructors is, no, when that happens, accept that today, that child's 100% is 60. In a well-trained instructor's mind, that 60% is their 100 today. So what do? You walk up and say, hey, Jordan, amazing job, champ. This is very good. Now I might grab his hand and say, nice, hold here, good job. And I fixed his grip without even him knowing it. Without even him knowing it, I fixed the grip. We call this the perfect adjustment. There's other videos about that. The point is, we might fix a little detail here or there, but they never aroused resentment. We never caused any resentment or them feeling like they were doing the 40 wrong. We focused on the 60. And then guess what happens? Next week, when they see the same move again, and we teach the same move, and they pay attention, what are they going to retain? 70, 80, 90. The problem is, parents, you guys only have 2 kids, let's just say. We have 200 plus kids. We know better how to interact with them and correct their mistakes and engage with them in a way that will keep them excited from week to week to week coming back to class. So we're asking for you guys to not say anything, not coach anything, and don't mess it up. The only thing you have to say is what he don't say. Praise for them for coming to class, tell them how much you love watching them, and just ask them if they had fun. That's it. Don't try to be the coach. You're not the coach, you're the parent. We're the coach.
And as parents, think about this. You yourselves, when you were kids and you were growing up, I'm sure you had somebody telling you what you could have done better, whether it was at school or in any sport, how you could have ran faster when you played soccer, you played basketball, you should have been more to the outside. Who knows what you were told on how you could have done things better. And let's change things. Let's be the change right now. And no longer, not that we can't give constructive, but that's not the parent's role. That's the coach's teacher. Role. Let the coach do that and the teacher. So as the parent, step out. And if you had a parent do that to you, don't be the same parent. And let's change things because, kids are going through so much at the age of 8 years old with school and after school activities. There's a lot of pressures in an 8-year-old's life. For them to have pressure in the 1 hour of jiu-jitsu from the parent, which is their one safe haven, right?
Yes.
Is too much. It's overloaded and unnecessary. It should be their one moment, their 1 hour that they don't have anybody telling them they did anything wrong. They should only be feeling good and only building confidence on the mat.
Yeah, 100%. So don't coach them at the academy. Don't coach your child when they go home in the car telling them what they should have done different. Now, that's what you guys need to do. From the academy's perspective, what we need to do to build that unshakable confidence, and more importantly, to overcome the challenge of keeping them interested, what we've kind of cracked the code on is kids at this age need to learn techniques and concepts that are immediately applicable in real life, okay? It does us, we found, no good to teach them some random technique that isn't immediately and in the child's brain useful for tomorrow if they were to get attacked or assaulted or confronted by a bully.
So for example, dealing with some of the stresses in their outside world.
Yes.
Keep going.
All right. So one thing, for example, that we're doing a lot of lately is, and it's been very successful, is teaching kids how to deal with the different verbal altercations and verbal harassment and verbal bullying that takes place every single day at school. What percentage of bullying takes place in the physical form when they actually beat each other up?
Hardly any. It's mostly just the bully making fun of the kid.
Making fun.
And then the kid doesn't know how to respond to it, and then they keep getting bullied.
They keep getting bullied forever. So we've been huge on saying, wait a minute, there's a level way before the physical aspect. And what's crazy is the most recent incident was a kid named Ignacio in our bully-proof class came in and right before class was like, Henner, 8-year-old kid, and was like, Henner, there was a kid, and his name was Andrew and Marco, and they were making fun of my friend Ethan. they were calling Ethan weak. And we role played this exact situation the week prior. And we say, hey, when someone's making fun of someone else, walk up to them, put your hands on their biceps like this, like, hey man, leave the kid alone. You didn't do anything wrong. We teach them how to block the biceps and verbally assert themselves to the child. So he said, Henner, I went up and Andrew was making fun of Ethan with his friend Marco, and I walked up and I grabbed him and I said, hold on. When he started talking like that, I got down on my knees so I would be the same height as Andrew, because Ignacio was like this tall. I said, show me exactly what you did. He's like, well, I grabbed him like this on the arms, and then I told him to stop making fun of Ethan. And I said, what happened? He said, well, when I said that, Andrew apologized, said, I'm sorry. And I said, did he stop? He said, yes, he stopped. How did you feel, Ignacio, after you did that? I felt very good. How did the Ethan feel, the kid who was getting bullied? He was very happy. I said, Ignacio, do you mind if we go to the class right now? This is before the class. I said, do you mind if we go teach the whole class exactly what you just did? And then we showed him. And how excited were the other kids to like, yeah, Ignacio, and to learn that it actually went down like that. So the point is, it's on the academy, the institution's role and responsibility to teach a curriculum that is so immediately applicable for the kids at this age that they come to class every, Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday thinking, this is my life preparation day. I'm gonna go to class right now. I'm gonna freaking be ready for whatever comes my way tomorrow. And we do a ton of verbal role playing. We certify our academies to do all kinds of situations in terms of, someone walks up and says, hey, take this rock and throw it at that window or else you're not my friend anymore. How does a kid respond to that? Or, hey, if you're friends with Hiron, you're not my friend anymore. The kid has to learn how to verbally deal with it. Or the most common of all, you can't play with us. And you can't play. No, I don't want to hear what you have to say. I don't care. You can't play with us. You don't understand.
No, listen.
This is our team we're playing. You can't play. Kids know how to respond to that? We got to teach them. And we do.
And not knowing how to respond, all these examples and more are very stressful for a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old.
Yes.
Right? That can make going to school homework.
It's the worst part.
Homework is hard enough. Right? And paying attention and learning what's being taught in class. Plus, you have to deal with all this extraness on the outside. You can't afford not to prepare for these things.
Kid has to know that. So we understand as the academy our responsibility in making the classes extremely real life applicable for your child every single day they come to class.
And this is so important that how many times have you had parents tell you that my child is now getting better grades since they started doing jiu-jitsu?
Yes.
And why? Because the stress. There's less stress that they're in the classroom, they can relax and actually read and not be worried about how they can't play with little Timmy.
Tell us, how was that? I remember for me personally, what it felt like to have the confidence of jiu-jitsu growing up. What about for you?
Yeah, every day I would come here learning how to fight and learning how to defend myself, so...
From Hoist Gracie.
Yeah. So all the kids my age didn't seem...
There was no threat.
Yeah, it was like normal. I was used to that kind of confrontation.
Yeah, you could,
and I knew how to deal with it.
You could side mount control Holly, so why can't you hold down little Jimmy?
Exactly.
No problem.
That's what we're trying to do, you guys. We're trying to turn these little kids into superheroes in their mind, and way beyond just the ability to win a fight for themselves, but to the point where you have little Ignacios. Think about that. The only thing greater than standing up for yourself is standing up for someone else who does not know how to stand up for themselves. That moves from the normal hero into the superhero category. We couldn't have been prouder. We had the whole class based on Ignacio Jiu-Jitsu Day. We gave him a t-shirt. People were like, yeah. It was like a big hype. The thing is, the kid is like on cloud 9, like floated out of the academy without his feet touching the ground. And of course, all the other kids were like, man, I can't. What did all the other kids say at the end of that class in their heads?
Did they want to get bullied so they could...
Yes, they can't wait to go save some other kid so they could have their own Ignacio Jiu-Jitsu days. Everyone was hyped up, you guys. It was the best. And this is not a one-time occurrence. This happens every couple months. There's a kid who comes in who explains exactly the verbal altercation, exactly how they dealt with it, and how, it felt like, of course, get deep into the emotion, and we, of course, use that as case studies, and it keeps recycling. But if the kid just shows up to class every single day, okay, guys, let's go start from the guard, let's do some arm locks. Okay, guys, the problem is there's too big of a gap between what they experience at school every day and what they're practicing at the academy.
This is all new, too, right? These scenarios.
It's newer, yes.
This
Until recent, yes. Until we started certifying other schools to teach jiu-jitsu in the Gracie Bullyproof program, we used to just show jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And that was just kind of enough. That's all you learned, and that's all we learned growing up. No one ever told me how to verbally deal with the guy in the exact situations.
This whole role-playing thing is amazing.
And the thing is this, it is a gap. It's a huge gap. And I remember feeling the gap. Like there would be situations when I was younger where fight wasn't warranted, But I certainly felt uncomfortable with kids that were either making fun of me or, older kid, a grade or two up, saying things they shouldn't have said. And I remember the tension of not knowing how to respond without necessarily physically dealing with the situation. So giving them and therefore I wouldn't respond at all. It's not like I would just fight for no reason. I just wouldn't do anything. I just shut it down.
I don't know if I should take this kid down right now or what should
and I knew it wasn't right, so I wouldn't do anything. Well, giving kids the intermediate options is game changing.
Well, and the common phrase from parents is just ignore them, turn the cheek, look the other way.
Yeah.
And we're just telling you that that's not what you want your kid to do, right?
How long should they turn the other cheek while someone's coming to school every single day making fun of them, chopping away at the block of their confidence?
All the way through high school? No. And we know that this gap exists between, the
real
verbal.
life, yeah.
I'm talking about between the actual fight on the ground and the little verbal, like, insult and bullying, because it exists amongst adults.
Yes.
Right? If someone comes up to myself or Jordan or Hannah in the street, there's a 99% chance that they only want to be verbal.
Yes.
That they only want to
have
pop
attitude.
their chest.
No.
Nobody wants to fight us.
No one wants to fight.
And the truth is, we don't want to fight them either.
Right.
But we will jiu-jitsu verbal fight them. And that's what adults and kids alike both have to know how to do, and we teach it very well.
Cool. So once again, like the Little Champs, where the need for the academy to make it super playful is a responsibility of the school, and it boils down to finding a qualified school to make that available to your child. The same thing goes for junior grapplers in that middle age group, where a school needs to know how to teach your child in a way that is immediately applicable to their everyday life and to the kid has to make a connection. What I'm learning today, I can use tomorrow. And as long as they feel that, they feel like they're going to their superhero training class every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, and they're gonna keep coming. They're gonna love it. They're gonna be excited about it. But we talked about why kids quit at this age. You mess it up. You try to be a coach and you're not certified to do so.
Just try not talking for a whole year about anything positive or negative. Only thing you have to say is, thanks for doing class today. It was great watching you. That's it.
I love watching you do class.
Try doing that for a year and let us know how it works.
Boom. Black Belt Club. This is also around 8 to 12, meaning a very mature 8-year-old who kills it in junior grapplers will get promoted. But it's invitation only, and this is the elite of the elite. This is the Navy SEALs of the Gracie Bullyproof program.
Not that they're fighting each other to a crazy extent.
No.
But they're just what they can learn.
It's way beyond.
Is they can learn anything.
Yeah.
Anything that we can teach.
Master cycle.
They can digest.
They can learn everything.
Yes.
And Jordan is the head Black Belt Club instructor here at the Gracie Academy every Tuesday and Thursday.
It makes sense, right?
It makes sense that he's the leader. That the leaders be led by the leader, And Jordan kills it with those kids. And just explain a little bit about the energy in that class and the focus and the difference.
Oh yeah, so like you said, they're just like little adults, so you can show them whatever, but we do still kind of go over the role playing. I did that last week with the kids because they needed to sharpen it up a little bit.
Cool.
So you teach them whatever you want, Master Cycle, they're a lot more focused, but that's also the age where they start getting distracted by the outside world.
Like
Video
what?
games,
Like what?
Friends,
Girlfriend,
boyfriends,
every friends. So Jordan, tell us about, because you had a very interesting experience at that phase.
Yes.
Where you just tried to call it quits. Let's just be honest. This is a family video. So you have to be full disclosure. Tell us why, tell us what happened, and tell us why it was impossible.
So probably around the age of 11 or 12 when I started going to middle school, that's when I started wanting to fall off. I said, Dad, I want to go hang out with friends. I don't want to do this. But my father had a system. Very specific system. He would say, okay, Jordan, if you don't want to go to jiu-jitsu, you have to let me know 2 days ahead of time.
He jiu-jitsu'd you right there.
He jiu-jitsu'd me because he knew that no kid my age would plan anything 2 days ahead. So I would basically be forced to go every time. I would tell my dad an hour before class, I don't want to go, Dad. He goes, oh, sorry, he didn't tell me 2 days
Yeah, we
ahead.
had planned for this. That's so good, right? Because it makes complete sense. Any kid only thinks about, and the reason why a kid doesn't want to go to jiu-jitsu normally is because what they're doing right now is more fun in their head than going and getting tapped out.
And it's easier.
Yeah, it's easier, it's more fun, there's no judgment, there's nothing. You gotta go there and play video games with your buddies, and middle school really opens up your horizons in terms of what's available to you. So naturally, your choice not to go comes today. Class is today at 4 o'clock, at 3 o'clock you're busy with your buddies. So it makes sense that your dad totally tricked you, because on Sunday, you don't know where you're gonna be on Tuesday as a 9, 10, 11-year-old kid. So you can't quit 2 days in advance. I love it.
And as a parent, I believe that you should consider the idea of, like, for example, video games, or just what you allow your children to do that might be what keep them from wanting to do jiu-jitsu. it's a good idea to set times. Just because a kid is 11 years old doesn't mean they have to have an iPad to play with every day, all day, whenever they want. You can say that an iPad is from the hours of 6:30 to 7:30 or 6, whatever. There's half an hour right before dinner.
Right.
You can make specific hours so that way the kid doesn't even have the iPad in their hand in the first place, and you won't have to, fight them.
Well, let's not get it twisted. We brought Jordan in because he's a non-Gracie family member, honorary Gracie family member, who went through this journey several times, tried to pull away from jiu-jitsu. His dad wouldn't let it happen. In the family, it happens as well. I tried to quit probably about 16 times between the ages, I would say 10, 11, and like 13, for sure. Now, there was one kind of variable there that made me want to quit. That was my arch nemesis at the academy. Every time I would come to the academy, I would get tapped repeatedly by the same person, and her name was Terry, okay? It was very painful, and my uncles were teaching class, and I'm going to class, and today I know Terry's there waiting for me, ready to get down. We roll, I get tapped out. Man, it was terrible. Bottom line is, nobody was even telling me bad job. I just felt it in my head, just letting down the Gracie family name, dishonoring my grandfather in my head. And anyways, that happened until about 12 or 13, until I finally caught her. She quit.
So you were keeping her in the building.
Yeah, that was her little, whatever.
Her dad say you beat the Gracies.
Go keep going. They're amazing.
You're doing good.
So anyways, most of the moral of the story, everyone tries to quit. We tried to quit many times. Did you?
Yes.
Yeah, we tried to say, I don't want to go, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. Here's the thing. At that age, think about the difference in life between a 9-year-old or 8-year-old and an 11 or 12-year-old. I think middle school is a great way to describe it.
When I was 12, I could just ride my bike around the neighborhood by myself unsupervised.
Yes.
Why would I want to do anything that involves supervision and structure?
Yes.
No.
So 12 is a very normal thing, and it's happening today, where kids are just falling off.
We have 9 12-year-olds
Yes.
in the building.
Yeah.
And we have 77 9-year-olds.
It's the difference, because the kid has way more options, way more distractions, way more girl and boyfriends, way more video games. The world just opens up around that middle school time. And because of that, it's not that they don't maybe see the benefits of jiu-jitsu, it's that they enjoy the freedom of everything else, especially if they've been doing jiu-jitsu for so many years. But here is the main purpose of this whole video. This is what sparked the need for this video, was this phase right here. The phase where kids just decides, I don't want to go anymore. This phase is everything. And what we're here to tell you guys is when that phase happens, quitting and letting your kids stop jiu-jitsu altogether is not acceptable. Straight up, it's not acceptable. Meaning, as the parent, your duty in this phase, right? The number one, most important objective is keep the kid connected through this challenging black belt club phase. The most important challenge, or the most difficult challenge, are the distractions. The reason why your kid will quit is only because you let them. Meaning, they're gonna try to quit and you authorize it. It's not acceptable to quit jiu-jitsu at this phase.
Children are going to want to quit also because of the reason that you said. Meaning, even amongst the black belt club, they're not really doing as well. They're a little bit stuck under other kids, or who knows what. They're not winning or submitting their partner. And it's important that you know that a 12-year-old that quits is very normal. But what's also very normal is for a 15-year-old to come in for the first time and be excited about it.
Yeah.
A 15, 16-year-old, or maybe even 14, to show up and be in the adult class and say, you know what, I love jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Now, if you think about it, 12 years old is where they're quitting, and 14 is where they're starting, brand new kids who never even been here this whole time. So there's a small window right there. If you can get your 12-year-old to train through that time of 12 and 13 years old, when they hit 14, they will be so far ahead of everybody. Now, even though they're gonna hit 14, 15 and be in adult classes and be losing a little bit, and when they hit 16, all those years are gonna go like this. Boom! The kid is gonna sprout.
I've seen it too many times.
And then you have 16-year-old kids that are able to have their way against 28-year-olds, 35-year-olds.
And that's when you can let off the
reins.
reins
And then the kid is 16 and they're like,
That's when they're stuck for life.
I do jiu-jitsu. It becomes their thing.
Yes.
The same way you have a 16-year-old that plays basketball all through high school and then gets into college and says, I'm done with basketball. The difference is this 16-year-old will do jiu-jitsu through high school, through college, through being a doctor,
Yes.
and for the rest of their life.
Yes. It's so major, you guys. So here's what we do. We call it maintenance mode, right? We recently had a kid who stopped training, he's been training since 4 or 5 years old, Nicholas. Went all the way through, and 12 years old, disappeared. Very normal. I saw his parents, because they own a dog grooming thing, and they were grooming Choki one weekend, and they were both there. I said, hey, where's Nicholas? And they were like, well, Henner's tough, man. He's not really, excited about going anymore. Yes, he's not really excited about going anymore. He's not really as excited. He's doing other things, playing video games, and he was good. And he's being, and he's just kind of falling off, Henner. He's not really pushing for it. Now, which brings us to the point where a kid who's in junior grapplers, because of the immediate utility and the fact that they don't have really many other life choices or distractions, they just love coming to class. So the parents' thought is if they go from loving it to not loving it anymore, let's just pull them out. No, the kid doesn't, it's not like they see any less value in jiu-jitsu, it's that there are other things that the child is being allowed to prioritize above jiu-jitsu. Those things didn't exist here. But now that they're here, it's not that the kid is falling, you see what I'm saying? This doesn't change, it's the new things that are drowning this. And it's the parent's responsibility to not allow those things to take priority over what matters the most. So I said, hey, where has he been? They said, oh man, I said, listen to me very carefully right now. It's so normal that he gets caught up with other life things right now. What we need to do is we got to get him back on the mat in what I call maintenance mode. And he was already now at this point out of black belt club because he was a little kind of a bigger kid and very good. And I said, get him into the adult classes on Saturday morning. Master Cycle. This kid has been training since 4 or 5 years old. Get him into Master Cycle once a week. Class that I teach. Just keep him coming. No choice. Don't give him a choice. You have the right. If he lives in your house, eats your food, wears your clothes, sleeps in your guys' bed that you make him every single day, he has certain obligations. And one of those has to be come to jiu-jitsu class. I'm not going to mess around. Let's not fluff it up, right? This is real. You have to go. This is a responsibility. You have to do your homework. You have to go to jiu-jitsu. This is life now. So the vibe changed a little bit from the earlier phases where it's all playful circus and games. This is now you have to go. Because you've invested too much for the kid to stop at 12 and not enjoy the life benefit of jiu-jitsu that we see with us and with Jordan and the rest of the people who stick with a long time. I said maintenance mode. Trust me. Get him in there every Saturday. Trust me. Now, he's in that phase right now. And every time he comes and rolls, I roll with him. We may keep it playful. We go. He rolls with other adults who are very nice to him and help him. And there's going to come a day where he, on his own, submits one of these grown-ups. Yeah. Legit submit. Might be 14 years old, 15, around there. 13, 14. You remember that day for you. Like it was everything changed.
After that day, I was like, okay, I'm never quitting.
I'm never quitting. I can beat up grown people. What is more fun than that? Nothing. The problem is they'll never get to that point if you allow the video games and the girlfriends and the neighborhood unsupervised bike ride mischievous behavior to get in the way of what matters most, which is keeping him in swim class, aka jiu-jitsu swim for life. Do they get this? They tell them that it's not acceptable, please.
It seems a little bit like you have to listen to your child. And
right.
I do believe that you have to listen to your child to a certain degree. You have to let them almost, choose their own path. But sometimes you have to do something like, no matter what, you can't smoke. Because parents do know best in some cases. And especially the case where these 3 jiu-jitsu instructors are telling you what you have to do when it comes to this topic of jiu-jitsu.
Tie their cell phone to going to class every week. If you don't go to your class on Saturday or Friday or Thursday, the whole next week, no cell phone.
Do kids have cell phones that are 10?
They do, bro. Things are changing.
Wow, then there's no reason why they shouldn't train.
Things are changing, you guys. Yeah. And the thing is this, we couldn't be more grateful that it was nudged upon us and required through that critical dropout phase we call Black Belt Club, where it's make it or break it. And once we get over the hill, around 13 years old, I caught my first grown-up, and I had my first private jiu-jitsu student. I had my first child that I was teaching, a little kid named Robert Mendoza. And this little kid, 5-year-old, and I started teaching him. Once I got the gratification of helping someone else, no one had to tell me to come anymore. I scheduled my own classes, I adopt my own training, I tapped my own grown-ups, and off we went. That was our journey. It worked for us. And we did not qualify to have this talk 10 years ago, let's just say. No. Because we hadn't seen the curve enough for enough people, both positive and negative. We've seen enough people mess it up for their kids, and we've seen enough parents like Tommy, Jordan's parents, Tommy and Sugar, kept him in it long enough to receive all the benefits. And now if he stops today because life gets in the way or he moves somewhere else, he's going to be fine. But that's not going to happen because he's one of the best teachers in the world, and he's here, and he does amazing things, and everyone loves him.
Something that will make it easier for you to, no matter what, keep them from quitting is this. Especially if you as a parent do not do jiu-jitsu, which you should consider that. It's a different talk. if we ask every single student that we have around the world, we have thousands of students, right? If we ask them, how many of you wish, these are adult students,
Everyone.
wish you would have started jiu-jitsu when you were 6, your parents would have put you in jiu-jitsu and you would have been doing it from now until today, how many of them would say, no, I would not like that? 0. Every single student of ours today, I've not heard it from anybody, 0. To say that they don't wish they started earlier. Everybody always says.
I almost hear it every day that I wish I would have started earlier.
Every single day. Yeah, it's the number one thing people say.
Tell me.
I wish I would have came sooner.
Yeah.
The beginner class especially. Oh my God, I wish I would have saw this sooner. Now, if you ask those same people, at 12 years old, if you were convinced that you never wanted to do it again and you wanted to quit, would you give your parents permission to force you to keep going even if you wanted to quit? How many of our students today would say, yes, I give you permission to force me?
All of them.
There you go. So you are being given retroactive, right, permission by all the existing students here, and your kids 20 years from now give you permission today to guarantee that they show up to class every single day. First phase, super fun. Second phase, ultra confidence. Third phase, overcome those distractions and keep them connected at all costs. You guys, half of the responsibility of keeping a child engaged rests in the hands of the school. They gotta be a freaking good school. They gotta be a good instructor who has good intentions, okay? If you have an amazing school in your area, go to them. And maybe they're not associated with us. Maybe they're not affiliated, but they have the tightest program. The instructor, above everything else, is a good energy. And the kids like him. The kids love him. He has good energy and keeps it playful and keeps it positive and keeps it relevant to their everyday life in terms of the instruction. If not, go to gracieuniversity.com and look at our list of accredited schools, certified training centers that all teach Gracie bully-proof in these type of program formations. If you don't have a school anywhere near you and you don't have anybody associated or not, get the DVDs, graciebullyproof.com, graciekids.com. Get the program, it's online, it's on DVD, and do it from home with your child. But follow these tips in terms of how to deal with your child. Show them the technique, expect nothing, praise everything, keep it positive, show them relevant techniques, and when they want to quit because they're getting distracted, make it a requirement at that later pre-teenage year phase.
But they're not jiu-jitsu instructors. How can they even teach their child jiu-jitsu?
We teach you how to teach your child. On the video you watch, you and your child watch together. We show you how to practice it. You get on the floor and you do it together. Not only will your child learn from home via the video program, more importantly, the bond between parent and child. Something that is not acquired when you watch your kid do class, but can be acquired when you do it at home with your child in a playful, positive way, is unbelievable. The connection. How do we know? We grew up in the house playing with our dad every single day. And to this day, he's over there in the office. At any point, can choke us out and keep us in line. Because the best thing is the bond between parent and child. You guys, critical talk. If you guys couldn't tell by our enthusiasm and our excitement to share this with you and the fact that we brought the man himself, Jordan Collins, here to have this talk with you guys, well, I don't know what to say.
All I gotta say is that these kids, I was just thinking, these kids that are teaching, that Jordan is teaching, are so lucky because they have someone that they can relate to that's not a Gracie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The question is, even still, out of the 60 kids that do Black Belt Club here in Torrance, how many of them will make it through that, what do we call that phase? That rough phase.
Hill you gotta
tough.
climb.
Let's just hope that 5 make it through.
Boom. Jordan, between you teaching amazing classes and between them following this amazing advice, we should be okay. Much respect. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you guys in the next one.
The idea now is to bring you a new opponent and see if you can last for 30 seconds without tapping out. Okay? If you're good, use the stuff that you've learned today.
I just learned how to get thrown around, though.
Oh, that should be a good start.
Who's my opponent?
My name is Jordan Collins. I'm 14 years old and I have an orange belt. And I'm gonna hurt Bert.
Hi, Jordan. How you doing? I know the handshake move.
Come on.
How you doing?
Bert's gonna be the base guy flat, and I think I'll still beat him in 15 seconds.
How old are you?
14.
14?
Yes.
30. And I just ate, so if I fart, I'm sorry.
All right, ready to go?
Wait, what am I? I never learned this part. What do I do?
Well, just start standing up and then see what happens, man. Go ahead.
And see what happens? Yeah. Wait. I don't know where the 7 seconds went, to be honest with you. I mean, because all I remember is like a millisecond of him grabbing me and throwing. I hate to say that kid threw me to the ground. I got beat up by a kid, okay? Is that what you guys want? How old is he for real? I want to see some ID. I was pushing him, and I was like, just like a little kid, I was like, oh, come on, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, ow! I was resisting. I was reaching for man hair. I was trying to grab onto something. Oh, I don't know.
You ready? Go for it.
Oh my God. Oh, guys, it's my tap. I can't tap. Oh, God. It's a little smaller leg to tap out on, but it's the same tap out. That same feeling. He took both my hands. I couldn't tap out. I tried tapping with my foot.